Homelessness is a problem in this country, especially here in Northern California. And one of the reasons we continue to fall short when we try to fix these is because we continue to try to fix the homeless person rather than the socioeconomic dilemmas that we're currently facing. Most people are not paid a livable wage, enabling them to live in the communities that they work in. If you're lucky enough to make such wage, you're probably living paycheck to paycheck, which means you're one big medical bill away from financial crisis.
So let's talk about homelessness in America. If you've been around for very much time at all, you'll see it's getting worse. And you think they're gonna help us. Is that what you think? Is that what you think? While the 1%ers got how much more during the pandemic, we all lost how much wealth? Do you think this is gonna change? It's not. I offer a solution of hope and assistance. They're not going to come and help you. They're not going to make a difference in the mass. I will. So this video is a fast forward version of an established Peapod Centers and the Good Ship. It's in production. There's, a couple thousand maybe Peapod Center locations throughout the world. There's the Homeless to Permanent Housing Initiative. There's locations across the United States. I mentioned some of this, but again, I'm saying things in a different way in this video. So there's dozens, maybe 100 different commune locations. Because essentially that's what I'm creating. Communes. Communes with an identity. Let me say that again. Communes with an identity. There's an intake process that I've kind of started to establish on, we find a homeless person and we have a conversation. What are your needs? Have you been homeless for, more than a year? You have no community, you have nowhere to go, you have no job. You have essentially, your life has fallen flat. I can provide all of that for you. A sense of belonging, a sense of community. I made this statement before, lots of places. If you have to spend all of your energy surviving, you don't have energy to grow. Just giving the bare necessities to establish oneself is not growing. You have homeless, they want to give you just enough to survive. That's not growing. That's not contributing. That's just surviving. Homelessness isn't surviving. So I'm not even talking about them. When I say, when you have to spend all of your energy on surviving, you don't have time to grow. The intake process is going to determine, maybe you just need a space so you can kind of regain your funding and on your feet and go off on yourself. We can provide that assistance. If you are disabled and you just need a place to rest for a year or two to go through the process of getting approved for disability, we can offer you that. Again, for the most part, I'm looking for people who have nowhere else to go. I'm going to give them that sense of belonging. Commune identity. Most homeless people have some sort of job history. Truck drivers, welders, even doctors, lawyers, you name it, all of them. Homemakers, seamstresses, bakers, all of it. All of it. And maybe it's been 10, 20 years. Maybe it's been 6 months. It no longer means anything to them because they no longer live in a life where there's meaning. Commune identity. One of the things that I want to do with building these locations is trying to manage scrap yards and junk yards, or somehow be involved with, in my community we have a junk-wide city collection day that happens usually once or twice a year, where they go around the whole city and everybody puts all their junk out on the corner, and then a bunch of volunteers go along and they pick it all up and then they bring it to the city dump. I want to organize teams in these locations throughout the world where we volunteer to help pick up that junk. And why? Because commune identity in these particular ones are going to have artists, welders. Picking up scrap is a great resource for materials for artists. This commune mentality that I talk about is a network of locations throughout a region. I've talked about how the Peapod Center, the non-denominational religious part, will sort of manage events and inclusion and bringing all the Peapod centers in a region together for weekly events, seasonal events, to build that community, that sense of belonging, networking. I've said that these communes essentially are going to have one location will be a step in the processing your food, whether it's livestock that you've grown or crops that you've grown from farm to table. There's going to be people who sew, a seamstress commune identity. Obviously, some of these farms are going to have horses, a country community. Many, 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 many different identities. So when a homeless person comes in, we do an intake process. We've decided where they fill. Then we send them to that place. And that's where they start their new life. How do I acquire these farms? I've mentioned it in the other video. Considering what I am, again, we're speaking in the future. We're talking about the Good Ship, the social media site. So we're talking in the future. An established business. I'm making profits. Again, the third floor of the Peapod Center is the bankroll. I mean, they're hustling. They're hustling. They're hustling, building relationships with the community. For people who have commerce pages, they work with those people who have commerce pages that are leaders in their community, so the elite team can use them as commercials in their weekly broadcast. Are you starting to get a picture here? If you've watched many of these videos, I hope you're starting to get a picture here. I've been working on this project for 32 years, but this social media site, nonstop, every day, all day long, just plugging away the hundreds of pieces, that's been going on for 3 years. So the established Good Ship, I'm buying up land, buying up farms. And then those farms, isolated wherever they are, trying to group them into a region. I'm going to take that farmhouse and we're going to blow out the side of the building and we're going to add 20 bedrooms. There's another video kind of talks about how these farms can, it could be tiny homes, there could be RVs. I don't know what the combination is going to be. But one thing is they're central as a group together. You don't get to go on one of these farms and you're the only one and independent and, you hide away from the world. Kind of like what I'm trying to do with my life. I mean, I want to go into Alaska, 3 hours fly in from the nearest road, and I'd perfectly be fine there the rest of my life. Just have food dropped in every month. That's it. That's sort of my dream. That's been my dream for 12 years. But my dream isn't your dream. But my dream is to give homeless people a place to go. They're not coming to help us. They're not coming to help the homeless. They feed us just enough lip service to keep the masses happy. And there's nobody organized to make a difference. Well, there wasn't. Or maybe there is, but maybe they've not come out of the woodwork yet. I am. I'm here, and I have a plan. The great thing about this is, and that's where the fundraiser that I'm going to be doing in like 6 months or so, trying to get that $12 million. I'm going to be marketing to billionaires, where a $10 million donation is nothing. It's pocket change, especially when I can clean up the streets. It's just going to take one. I'm only going to need one of those people. But collectively, what I am doing is not taking any taxpayer money. The government should want me to be able to succeed in this, because this is going to relieve their demands, things they have to pay. I could do this. You just got to give me a chance. Now let me just end with this and say this. I've been working on this book that's now a series of 4, and the literary marvel, artistic design, and what I'm doing with the 4 books. 1 book released every year. First book's not going to be for a while. I have 5 years at minimum for when the last book gets released. And if at that point I haven't gained or got or figured something out, got the attention I need, then I'm just going to lay it all out there and let people have it. There's going to be lots of videos that I make that people who are thinking about creating a new social media site, because I have had a couple of people reach out and I didn't engage because I could tell by the way the conversation went that this was not that conversation for me to engage in, because they were trying to see if I had something there. It wasn't to help support me. It was, I'm going to steal your idea. At the end of the 5 years in the last book, if I haven't gotten anywhere, I'm just going to lay it all out there. Most of it will already be out there, influencing other potential social media sites, creating that safe space, socially responsible, cultural social media site. and the Rolodex theory. The 110 different human experiences or whatever that's going to be on it. From hobbies to jobs to just emotions we all go through. So you can just dial in whatever it is that you're experiencing and you need some understanding. You just plug it in and you just get that scroll of information that you wanted. And if you want that scroll of information in another location, then you just tap into one of those 4,000 Peapod Centers locations throughout the world. The amount of information that will be shared on this, the Good Ship, and the Rolodex does not exist anywhere in the world.